Hi, you're very welcome. And this is one of my case study jobs. So the data is fake, okay? The names, all the rest are fake, but the payment types are kind of fairly typical of the kind of things, kind of payment types you will find in various entries on it. So the dilemma that my customer had was that she had a list of all these names, obviously not those names, and she listed all the payment type, and she needed to create kind of a sheet that would basically summarize, both the total payment for each payment type, but also for each person as well. So the first thing I did is that means we kind of have to VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP on two things, which is both the full name and the payment type. Right. So what I began here with is I began with a helper cell. And this is going to be my link between the two of them. So just go to helper cell, press enter, and just do the format painter thing on it. And the helper cell basically is going to consist of the full name, little ampersand, and then the payment type. Press enter. Now, one of the things you need to be careful about with this is you need to make sure that things are spelled the same way. So, for example, if annual leave is spelled 3 different ways, the formula is not going to work effectively. Okay, so just to bear that in mind, that's the first thing, just to bear in mind. So I did that first of all. So I have it here. Then I go to my calculation sheet. And what I want to do is I want to pull in my employees' names. And I want to just basically, because the names are duplicated, okay, and the way I can check I'm duplicated is if I highlight my column, conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, duplicate values. See there, I have entries for them twice as well. Right, so just cancel it. So I need to come back to my calculation sheet, and I use a dynamic array formula called unique equals unique. Open my brackets, go to my timesheet, and I've just highlighted this one. Now I already had my name sorted alphabetically, okay, just to bear that in mind. So, but if they weren't sorted alphabetically, you might have to use a combination with the sort function as well. And I'll put a link to that somewhere else. And let me just move this up a fraction. Okay, now what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to do that again, because it's coming up there with a 0. Go to unique, go to timesheet, and I click on the first one up here, and then I just do Control Shift arrow down. So it just goes down to the end, and then just close my bracket. Now the one thing to bear in mind with dynamic array functions is they only really function, you can only change them on the very first cell, which is up here. All right, you can't change them. So if I click down any of these other ones, you can see up here, this is all gone dim. Okay, just to bear that in mind. All right, I want to leave the total for the time being. And then I'm going to go to use the function called transpose. Now transpose is basically going to take these payment types, and instead of having them down, having them go across. And I'm also going to use the unique function with that. So just go equals transpose, open my bracket, and then I'm going to go to unique, open my bracket, then come down to timesheet, click on the first one here, and then I just do Control Shift arrow down, and then close my bracket and press enter. Okay, yes, I'll accept that. I've got my 2 brackets. Okay, so there we have those going across. So that's the first bit there. Now, the next thing I want to do, so I've got my unique list of entry names, and again, I can just do a quick check here. Conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, duplicates. I don't have any duplicates. Let me have a quick look down all the way. Yeah, no duplicates, and I have a few hundred names in this. Yep, no duplicates. Okay, and that's a good way just to test it. So then I click here, and what I want to do is use an xlookup, which is basically going to look up a combination of the name, the employee name, which is here, and the payment type, right? And then I wanted to kind of return the number of hours for that. So I begin here, go up to my formulas, I go to my lookup and reference. Now I want to use my xlookup for this, but I could also use VLOOKUP. I want to xlookup, and if you remember, this was, I had my employee names in the helper cell. In the other one, I had the employee name first, and then I do ampersand, and then I do this one. Now I need to tweak this formula. So I go to A3, and I press F4. Now it's doing something strange there now. Let me start again. XLOOKUP. Okay, so I go to my lookup value here. Now press F4 until it reads $A3, because all the entries are going to be locked back to the entries, to all the employee names are going to be locked back to that column, but I want the row to change. And then I do ampersand, and I click on my public holidays up here, and then I use F4 until it's locked to the row, okay, because I don't want the row to move as I'm copying it down. I then go down to my lookup array, which is in the timesheet, and I say I want to look up here. That's that column there. And again, I press F4 again just to lock that, because again, that's not going to change them copying it. And then my return array, back to the timesheet again, is going to be my hours. F4 again, I want to lock that. If it's not found, I want it to return a 0. And then I just click OK. Right? And I can go to this one, and I'm just going to drag it across and have a quick look. Okay, so you can see there I already have a sick leave one there. Now I have conditional formatting applied to this already that kind of basically changes if there's nothing in it. But let me have a quick check. So I'm looking for Adelgrim Brown and sick leave. Okay, so I just go to my filter here. I'm just going to put on the filter, data and filter, and I'm going to look for Adelgrim Brown and their sick leave in 1777. Okay, so I'm going to clear that. And I'd probably just check some of the other ones as well. So just go across here, and then I'll just double click to copy it down. And there we go. All right. Now, I want to show you how I got the conditional formatting here. So I just went to Home, Conditional Formatting, Highlight Cells Rules, and I just said, I went down to More Rules, and I just said if it's not equal to 0, all right, because I just wanted to color code it. And I'm just going to put on a different color this time so you can see it, maybe a nice light green. There you go. Right. So that can just make it much easier just to see the numbers when you're looking at them. I want to get my total here. So I just go equals sum, click this one, Control Shift and across, and then close my brackets, press enter. And then I'm just going to go across here, double click on this one. There we go. That's my totals. And one of the things I want to check is that I want to check that the total that I have here is the same as the total from the timesheet, so that I haven't left out any hours. So I do that by coming up here to equals sum, go to my timesheet, highlight my hours, close my brackets, minus sum. I just go to this one up here. Well, I just go to this one. Otherwise, I'm going to come up with a circular reference. And just close this one as well. And scroll up. And you see there, it's 0. Okay. And what I've done then is that will give me a difference. So if I have a difference between the two of them, if I have no difference, I format that as green. So it's conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, equal to 0. It's green fill with dark green text, which is fine. And then I can also go conditional formatting, highlight cells rules. And if I just go down to my more rules, and I can just say if it's not equal to 0, because it should be 0 all the time, I put in 0 here. 1 0 is fine. I'm just going to make it red. Okay, and if, for example, if I, let's say, I'm just going to delete something here. Let's say I'm just going to delete this number. I see that I changed it then to red. And then when I go back to this one, I can then have my ones on it. Now, if I want to highlight the columns, I can just select the whole thing. If I double click, then I then have all my columns done. All right, back to this again. Right. Now, I hope you found that useful. And the last thing I want to show you is if I want to freeze my panes. So if I click here in total, go up to view, freeze panes. Means now if I want to scroll down, I can go here. If I want to go across, I can go here to this one. All right. So I hope you find that useful. You'll see the finished file down there as always, and mind yourself and take care. Bye.